An 88-pound Doberman was returned 3 times in 8 months. Too aggressive with strangers, too intense at the door, too dangerous around people he didn't know. 3 families, 3 failures, the same words every single time. He spent 287 days in a concrete kennel while the neighbors signed a petition to have him removed. Then, a woman with a 4-year-old daughter stopped at his kennel on a Tuesday afternoon. She signed the papers, and 7 months later, at 3:18 a.m., what he did in that hallway made every single complaint disappear. But what those 3 families never understood, what they walked away from, was the only thing standing between their family and everything trying to get in. An 88-pound Doberman was returned 3 times in 8 months, too aggressive with strangers, too intense at the door, too dangerous around people he didn't know. 3 families, 3 failures, 3 times the shelter staff watched him come back through the same door. He spent 287 days in a concrete kennel while the neighbors signed a petition to have him moved to a different facility. Then, a woman with a 4-year-old daughter walked past his kennel on a Tuesday afternoon. She signed the papers, and 7 months later, at 3:18 a.m., what he did in that hallway made every single complaint disappear. His name was Rex, jet black with rust markings sharp as brushstrokes, 88 pounds of muscle and alertness, ears that moved independently like radar dishes tracking every sound in a room. He was, by every account, a perfect dog, inside the house, with his people, on his terms. The problem was everyone else. The moment a stranger approached, Rex changed, not growling, not lunging, just positioning, placing himself between his person and whoever was coming, standing absolutely still, staring, the kind of stare that made mail carriers cross to the other side of the street. Returned, family 1, terrified our house guests. Returned, family 2, cornered our babysitter against the wall. Returned, family 3, our neighbors threatened to call animal control. Shelter behaviorist Tom reviewed every incident report. Not one bite, not one scratch, just a dog who inserted himself between strangers and the people he loved and refused to move. Technically, Tom wrote in his notes, there is no aggression here. There is only extreme protective instinct with no off switch. The file was stamped anyway. Dangerously overprotective, not suitable for families. After the 3rd return, Rex stopped greeting the shelter staff in the mornings. He sat at the back of his kennel and watched the entrance. Always watching the entrance. Sarah and Michael weren't looking for a guard dog, they were looking for a companion for Maya, their 4-year-old daughter who had recently decided that every dog on earth was her personal best friend. They wanted something gentle, patient, calm. They had walked past Rex's kennel twice before Michael stopped. Rex was sitting perfectly still, watching Maya through the chain-link fence. Maya had her fingers pressed through the gap, waving them slowly. Rex hadn't moved toward her, hadn't moved away. He was just watching her with an expression that Michael later described as careful. He's looking at her like he's trying to figure her out, Michael said. Sarah read the file card on the kennel door. Dangerously overprotective. She looked at Rex. She looked at Maya, who was now pressing her entire face against the fence and whispering something to him. Rex leaned forward very slowly and touched his nose to her forehead through the bars. Sarah handed the file card back to Tom. We'll take him. The first weeks were an education. Rex was flawless with the 3 of them. With Maya, he was extraordinary. Patient, gentle, moving around her with a precision that seemed almost deliberate, as if he understood exactly how small she was and adjusted every movement accordingly. With everyone else, he was a problem. The first time Sarah's mother visited, Rex stood between them in the hallway for 11 minutes before Sarah could coax him aside. Michael's co-worker came for dinner and spent the entire evening with Rex stationed 2 feet away, unblinking. The neighbor's kids came to the door for Halloween, and Rex pressed himself against Sarah's legs so firmly she nearly fell. Michael started using the word liability. Sarah started doing research at midnight, reading forum posts and behavioral studies and veterinary articles, trying to understand what she was seeing, and slowly a picture emerged. Dobermans were originally bred as personal protection dogs, not property dogs, not territory dogs, personal protection. One person, one family, one mission. Rex wasn't broken. Rex was exactly what he was built to be. She told Michael this at 11:30 p.m. on a Wednesday. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "So what do we do with that?" Sarah looked down at Rex, who was asleep across the bedroom doorway, all 88 pounds of him blocking the entrance like a draft stopper. She said, "We trusted." If you're still watching and you haven't hit subscribe, I'll be honest, that stings a little. Click it, because the next part is the reason this story matters. 7 months after they brought Rex home, on a February night when the temperature had dropped below freezing and the street outside was completely silent, Rex woke up at 3:18 a.m. Not with barking, with silence. Michael heard it first, the absence of Rex's breathing from the doorway. He opened his eyes. The doorway was empty. Then he heard it, a low, continuous sound from downstairs. Not a bark, not a growl, something lower and more deliberate, like a warning being issued very calmly to someone who needed to understand it completely. Michael was down the stairs in seconds. The back door was open 3 inches. The lock had been forced. Standing inside the kitchen doorway, completely frozen, was a man in dark clothing who had clearly not expected what he found. Rex was positioned directly between the man and the hallway that led to the bedrooms, to Maya's room. He hadn't attacked, hadn't bitten. He was simply standing there, 88 pounds of absolute stillness, every muscle locked, eyes fixed, issuing that low, continuous sound that filled the kitchen like a current of electricity. The man did not move. Rex did not move. Michael called 911. The police arrived in 9 minutes. They found the man still standing exactly where Rex had left him, frozen against the kitchen counter, unwilling to test what would happen if he tried to get past. The officer who took the report looked at Rex for a long time. "This dog is trained?" he asked. "No," Michael said. He knows." The officer nodded slowly. Whatever he knows, it worked. They found out later that 3 other houses on the street had been broken into that same night. All 3 families had been asleep. None of them had a Rex. 3 families had returned him for being overprotective of his people, and on a frozen February night at 3:18 a.m., being overprotective of his people was the only thing that mattered. Sarah sat on the kitchen floor with Rex after the police left, her back against the cabinet, his head in her lap. Maya was still asleep upstairs, completely unaware. Michael sat beside them, not saying anything for a long time. "They said he was dangerous," Sarah said quietly. Rex looked up at her, those steady amber eyes that had made 3 families decide he was too much. He was, just not to us. When a dog places itself between you and the door, it is not asking you to be afraid. It is telling you that you don't have to be. That is its job. That is its entire purpose. Don't punish that. Don't return that. Understand it. Because the dog the world called dangerously overprotective was the only reason this family slept safely that night. Would you have kept a dog like Rex? Tell me in the comments.